Quick Snap is presented by FW Web, dependable solutions for the pros since 1866.
Welcome back to episode 15 of the Quick Snap podcast, coming off the bye week. A lot of football to watch. Unfortunately, the Patriots we didn't get to watch, but get to see some of their maybe potential upcoming competition when it gets to the playoffs, so I enjoyed it. And we had a special guest here thanks to the bye week last week, offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels. Fantastic interview. Obviously, you and I have had a relationship with him going back a long way, and it's been great to watch him in his third stint just get this offense to a level that I don't know if anybody could have projected happening this quickly.
No, I mean, Josh is awesome. It's awesome to get – it was weird for me. I don't know if it was weird for you to sit down and –
It was.
You know, because –
it's kind of a role reversal,
yeah,
you know?
Like,
it's usually him dictating to us.
Yeah, and but like you said, I think we all believed that there would be that success, but how fast it's happened, really a testament to the coaching staff. And then obviously the players, right?
Yeah.
It all comes down to the players. And to hear some of that from him, you know, some of his story and things and getting to work with these guys and things he's learned, I thought was awesome. And, you know, it's a super, super cool interview. I'm super excited for it. So check it out. Here's Josh McDaniels.
All right, welcome back. We have a very special guest, six-time Super Bowl champion, one of my favorite coaches I ever played for. I know, David, you feel the same way. We're here on the bye week recording. He had a little time for us. Coach Josh McDaniels.
Great to be with you guys.
Yeah, thanks for being here. You know what? You and I kind of have something in common now here in New England. 3 separate stints with the Patriots.
Yeah, really rare.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know what that means about me, but
it means, hey, I think the people here are excited.
I love being here, and certainly have a lot of great memories, and hope to make more here soon.
Well, you've made a lot for us this year. I mean, for David and I, being so close to having played and having you be back and for us to be able to cover the team has been incredible. And the one thing that I've noticed, and you know, I've shared the sideline with you a lot, is the joy that you're having out there. I mean, I've seen a few chest bumps. We got to work on maybe the height, getting up. You know, you and Todd Downing, and I've seen a lot of smiles and some great. You know, the thing that I love now that you don't pay much attention to when you're playing is like these mic'd up moments of you and Drake, which has been so awesome to see. Like, what has that been for you to get back? You know, you were out for a year, and here you're back in this place.
Yeah, I thought last year was really cool for me. Never thought it would be, but having an opportunity to be away from the grind of the football season, the calendar, and getting to spend it with my family, but also kind of, you know, having a different perspective about what it would be like when you get back into it. And I felt like I found some peace, certainly joy, you know, coming back into this year, whatever that was going to be. And I didn't know, you know, most of 24 what that would look like, but I just felt like I found that place for myself, you know, and lo and behold, it ended up being here, which made it even sweeter for me to have this opportunity to be in New England again. And I am having fun. Vrabes has done an incredible job. He's got such a cool leadership style because he played and he understands that side of it, but he holds everybody accountable, and he also understands this generation of player. And so it's not the exact same as it was 20 years ago. It can't be. And he's stressed, you know, making sure that we have joy at practice every day, and we have fun playing and coaching. And I think you see that, you know, every Sunday.
Yeah. You mentioned 20 years ago.
Yeah.
How did you get your start here?
Yeah.
You know, how did this come about?
Yeah, it was Brian Daboll, honestly, you know, who's still one of my best friends. And he and I were at Michigan State together in 1999. I know, back in 1999. And, you know, we were GAs together. And he was on the defensive side. I was on the offensive side. And, you know, after Nick Saban left to go to LSU, Bill had gotten this job in 2000. So he called Nick, and Brian was in his second year as a GA. I was only in my first year. So he asked Nick if he had anybody that he felt like would be a good candidate to be a quality control coach, and he suggested Brian. Brian came up here, did a great job. Brian and I were in contact that whole first year that Dave's was here in 2000, and then Bill, I think, approached him and said, hey, if you can find somebody else to come take the grunt work off of you, I'll maybe make you, give you more responsibility, move you up. And so, of course, he called me. And so, and then I was more than happy to have this opportunity back in 2001 and came up and started as kind of a personnel assistant, quality control guy, breaking the film down, and did that really for 3 years. And then, the rest kind of went from there.
Yeah, I mean, for me, you and I missed each other. When I came in, you were leaving for Denver, and then I came back in 2017 and obviously was so excited to be a Patriot again and learned so much from you, not just about offensive football, but defenses, how to attack them, all of those things. And the one thing, and we talked about this a few weeks ago, that I've always looked at you because I've played in a lot of systems, West Coast, Air Coryell, and with a lot of good coordinators, but your willingness to be adaptable. And we've seen that this year, and you mentioned your year off. I know you did your travels and observed some things, and David and I will, we'll be texting during the game and be like, hey, was that, this play that we did or that one? But there's been some elements of some things that maybe people haven't seen you do before. And I told the story a few weeks ago in the Super Bowl against the Rams about how we'd prepared for Wade Phillips. We get ready to go. Boom, we get to the game. He's completely changed everything. And I told, this is everybody who asks me about you, I always tell this story. And your willingness to do this and the faith you had in the players was pulled everybody up and said, fellas, if we want to win this game, we have to change what we're doing and implement it right here on the sideline in the second half, fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. And came up with that drive, we put the personnel group in that we needed to. And I just think it's such a credit to you to come back. You have a new young quarterback who has different talents, maybe from Tom or Mac or whoever you've done, and implement those. And I think you need to be praised for that because, as you mentioned with Vrabel, adapting as he goes, you've done the same thing. You've always done it. But talk about with this year and Drake's skill set, how that came about and how comfortable you've been doing that.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying those things, but I think honestly coaching is really about evolution and adapting to multiple things. And, the first thing you have to understand is who you have. If you don't know what that variable is, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. And so, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the special talents that your guys might have that maybe you didn't have a few years ago, and so that is the starting point and understanding who you're coaching. And then you kind of look at the matchups per week and how that is going to obviously impact the outcome of the game, and then try to figure out how to use your guys against their guys and do it the best way you can. I think last year for me was really about evolving in terms of opening up my mind to some other things, and I still believe in the things that I've always believed in terms of trying to play offense the right way and take care of the football and protect the runner and take care of the quarterback and all the rest of that stuff. But there's some other things that you see now that are very successful. And so it gave me an opportunity to just gather information, learn, took a lot of notes, in the places that I was able to go. And I really appreciate the people kind of opening their doors to me so I could go there and just kind of be a sponge. Never knowing how it would all fit together. But then you have this opportunity present itself with such a unique talent at quarterback. And he's athletic, he's big, he's accurate, but he's also very smart. And so, you start there, and then you look at the rest of the pieces and try to figure out how do we best use these guys to put pressure on the defense week in and week out. And I still think we're working towards our best football. I really do. But we've certainly implemented some things that make us different, make us more difficult maybe to defend. But that's because the guys we have can do those things.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually doing a podcast the other day, and I mentioned that, how when I watch the games, I see the foundation of a Josh McDaniels offense, right? And you kind of hit on that. You have to have a foundation. There's your core principles, your core system, right? But it's the evolving off of that. And I think it's interesting that sometimes people don't understand the lifestyle of a coach, right? And you talk about that year off, right? And it's sometimes you don't have the time to really sit there and decompress, like the family stuff that, obviously, but like seeing what other teams do and coaches aren't opening their doors to other coaches. No. It's too competitive.
No. Yeah.
No.
And, being able to do that and really think about it, because y'all, whenever the season ends, you take a little time and then it's just, how do we improve?
Yep.
Then it's free agency and combine and draft. And then we got,
phase one.
Yeah.
You're back in.
We're walking back in and you're trying to get up. Like, it's just such a revolving door. And the little free time you do get, you are trying to make up for being gone from your family for 9 months out of the year. Yeah. So, I think you've done, like Ryan said, you've done a great job. And it's been fun to see. And I will thank you, because I was nervous about getting into this media side of the world. Well, it makes it a lot easier to talk about y'all.
Yeah, when things are going well.
We're sitting here at 11 to 2. It's very fun to come to work. And I think that's something true with this football team. Winning's contagious, and you know that.
Yep.
But this is obviously a different team than you've ever been on, right?
Yep.
All the success we had here, it's not like you walk back into the same locker room again. And, I just, a little glimpse of what it's like being in, these locker rooms with these guys. They seem, and I think that's interesting because there's been such an influx of new people, whether it's rookies, free agents. It seems like an awesome, close-knit group. It reminds me of teams we played on.
Yeah.
But a lot of those guys have been together for years, and there was this core group. But it seems like that team's found this in 3 months.
Yeah. And I think that's a tribute to Mike. And honestly, I think for any organization to be successful, I think you have to have a vision. I think it has to be supported. I think it has to be defended.
Yep.
And I think that you have to have a lot of people on board to do that. And I think what he did, and it was so impressive for me, and I learned a lot about this process this year, is just, learning who we were as human beings, not coaches and players.
Yeah.
And there was an inordinate amount of time spent on that in the offseason. And it was like, well, put football on the back burner for a minute. We're going to do this, and we're going to make sure that we understand what is important to all of us. And as you guys know, I mean, it's different when you know things about the guy beside you.
Yeah.
Right.
It's different when you understand why somebody may be having a little bit of a difficult day, because you get it that their family is part of their life. It's not just when we come into the football building, we just shut the door and nothing else matters. Yeah. There's other things going on.
Drawer.
We all have things. We all have things. And so I think that he did a great job of connecting us that way first. But then I think it's been such an impressive way to approach this, because he was part of the beginning, and the how do we do the things that give you an opportunity to win, and he knows all those things, on all three phases, how to coach it, all those things that were important to winning. He lived them. They were the first group that did it.
They built the culture.
That was the people we heard about when we came in the building. You hear the stories about Vrabel and Brewski and Rodney and obviously, all
and
those guys.
He knows that side of it, and he references that when he needs to and wants to, but he also, I give him a tremendous amount of credit, because when he left Tennessee and he went to Cleveland last year, I think he had an opportunity to kind of look at things differently, probably study some things that he did and didn't do, but understood like this generation of player that we have now is not the same. Yeah. It's not the same. Mm-hmm. Like, the phone's important to him. You know what I mean? As crazy as that is, like, the phone's important to them. You know what I mean? And that's the world we live in. It's important to my kids too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of other things that are different now that weren't the same back in 2001, 2, 3, 4, whatever it was. And so he's been able to take that old school approach and accountability, toughness, discipline, and then marry it really, really well with this new school, new generation of player, and the creation of a culture that everybody wants to be a part of, because it's fun when you walk in the building. Yeah, there's joy when you walk in the building. We have fun in the team meeting. We have fun in the practice field. I'm not saying that there's not some demanding and some there are moments of being pissed off about A, B, or C, but there's such a unique blend, and it comes from the top. So it's been easy to follow, and it's been easy to support and defend because you see how it's going to work. And so I think all of us have been able to understand it clearly, and then try to do our part to hold it close to our heart, and just say, look, we got to defend this every day we walk in here.
Yeah, you can see the love that there is in that room, and I think we always talk about one of the coolest things that we miss every day is the locker room.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you miss playing the game, but you miss the closest. That's why I'm happy to be here with David every Tuesday, because it kind of enacts that for us a little bit. But we get to see, you guys celebrating these wins, which 10 in a row. I don't think anybody understands how hard it is to win 10 games in a row in the NFL. Yeah. And I thought Vrabes said it really well, and I never thought about it this way. We can all have different personalities, but we have to have the same mentality. And I think you see that. You embrace each other for who they are, but everybody has the same mentality. They want to go out there and win the football game and do it the right way. And you mentioned it too, like a different generation of player. And it probably has to be weird for you coaching Drake, who's not much older than your son, Jack, right?
That's right.
And I know Vrabe's son is similar age, and it's got to be different, but in a weird way, it probably helps you because you have children in that similar age bracket and how you're dealing with it. And I mean, we should get to the quarterback now because it's been so fun to watch, especially watching him play the position that I played underneath you.
Yep.
And obviously I was in here when Mac was a rookie and he had success. And I think just want to let you talk about coaching a young guy because you're very demanding and it makes us all better for it. Like there was never a day when you took it easy on Mac Jones, and Mac excelled because of that. And I think you can see those fruits of the labor that you two have put in this offseason every Sunday. Yeah. And I sit there, and obviously knowing the offense to the extent I do, I rarely see Drake go to the wrong spot or make a poor read or it's just been so fun. And then on top of it, he's such a great kid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's he's a very unique blend of all those things that we talked about earlier. And, I think when you get a young player, I think the first thing you have to do is just figure out, what have they been taught? Yeah. You know what I mean? What's in their bucket? You know what I mean? And some of them are taught different things based on where they were in college, who coached them, what system they learned. Did they have any responsibility at the line of scrimmage? Did they not? Was it all this type of read or was something else? Sure. And so I think, it took some time to just understand where he was coming from. And he had, the 1 year in the NFL also. So there was a combination of things that he had some experience with. But once you know that, then it's like, okay, now we kind of set the course for how do we plan to improve this player in all of the areas at quarterback that require it, and demand it. And so, and as you know, there's no shortage of those. Yeah. You have to be really good at a lot of things to be a good player in the NFL at quarterback. And so, just starting that process back in April when he got in here and we really could start together, the communication aspect of it, the responsibility at the line of scrimmage, understanding what defenses are presenting and how does that impact what we're doing. Sure. Like understanding how much information that can give you and also make your job easier, right? And look, I'm biased because I've only done it one way. Yep. And so I know there's a lot of other ways to do it. And I know there's this train of thought that, take that responsibility off of them and make their life simpler and they'll play better. And that's fine, and other people can claim that that's the case, and I'm sure it is for them. For us, we've always looked at it, and you know this, you've heard me say this, it's a little bit of a mountain, and you start climbing it, and as you're going up, you learn how to do more things to help you get to the top. And when you get to the top and you've learned how to do all these things well, the view from the top is pretty good because you've already, how to handle different pressures. You know how to solve your problems and protection. You know how to get out of a bad run play. You know how to read coverages when they're trying to disguise on you. You know how to deal with third down and red zone and 2 minute and all those other things because you've gone through the labor and you've done the work. And Drake deserves all the credit in the world because he came in and he started learning and he hasn't stopped. And I was so proud last Monday night because there was things we didn't do right in Cincinnati that we got right in Monday Night Football. And for him to make progress this late in the year, November, December, and fix something that, you know, we identified, and he, again, deserves all the credit because he put the work in, and then he has to do it.
Yeah.
Like, none of us can do, as you guys know, the players do the work on the field.
That's right.
And so for him to put that work in to say, you know what, I'm going to fix this, and then get the shot to do it, and then nail it, you know, which was really cool to see.
No, I loved it, and you'll love this because I came in, I was like, I actually thought it was one of his best games, and David's like, I mean, I just expect that from him now. I'm not kidding. He's like,
I'm honestly, I'm done. Like, I'm not done talking about him, and I'm not done giving him his flowers. But the thing, like, that deep ball he hit to Kyle Williams, how many of those has he thrown this year?
Quite a few.
Okay, so when I watched it, I was like,
but you know the thing on that play that is really the cool play was this weak safety on the line of scrimmage, double mug on the right, you know, 7 guys at the line of scrimmage, and he doesn't flinch.
No.
And I'm not going to go into,
has the tools.
Not going to go into what he did and didn't do, but you guys know what I'm talking about is that was a presentation that was used to try to impact the passer.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he said, okay, I see this and I trump you with this. Yeah. And then boom, and then I'm going to make the throw on top of it. So there's a lot of things that go into playing this position well, and he wants to be great at all of them, which is so special.
I mean, that's, to me, it's just, I was doing it to kind of be funny about it, but because we have this FW Webb, dependable player of the game, of course, after the game, always like, Drake gets it.
I want to give it to Drake every week.
I'm like, I'm done doing this. Like, he should deserve it every week, but like, and I was like, maybe that's just the Bill Belichick in me not giving game balls to people, but you know, it's almost becoming my expectation of him, you know, because I've seen him do this game after game, week after week, and you kind of hit on it a little bit. One thing I think about this team that I've enjoyed, you know, trying to articulate is I think people are getting better each week. And you talked about Drake, you know, in Cincinnati, didn't do stuff well, did it good on Monday night. And I see, like, Kyle Williams, I see him getting better. Henderson, Wilson, all these young players, and even guys that were there, you know, that I played with, getting better. And that's been super fun to watch. And I don't know, when you kind of get when the blitz pick up, that used to be my favorite day of the week.
Yeah, you had to be so cohesive. And to your point, and you always would say you can't punt on the hard things. Yep. That's what you would tell us. And for people who don't understand, that means like when that look gets presented, there's a lot of quarterbacks around the league that'll just say, I'm just going to snap the ball and whatever happens, happens. And so to see that growth in within a season, I'm like, man, this is an impressive young man with what he's been able to do.
Yeah, I just used to love trying to figure out the problems myself. And then, because some weeks there's not that many problems. Yeah. You know, like it's kind of easy per se, you know, and you know because you've seen it. And then there's some weeks where it's like, well, there's no way we could block this. How are we going to do it? And then, like, I remember there was a Miami week. I forget what year it was, but they had this, like, low double mug blitz, and we jerry-rigged this protection system to handle it. And it was so cool. And it ended up not coming up, but it was, I always loved to kind of see, you know, try to solve the answers to the test and then see what the real answers were. And you talked about that, you know, the quarterback's plate, though. And I always had the philosophy that it's a quarterback show, right? He's driving this bus. And so he better be in control of this bus. But in saying that, it's always important for, you know, the center and quarterback to have some rapport. And understand, you know, because if the center or if the quarterback wants to pull it right, well, you know, you need to do it right. But, you know, understanding why you're doing that helps everyone out. But, you know, on the maximizing players, one room I think we've all been very impressed with is this receiver room. For a lot of different reasons. One, Diggs, the signing of him. Mac Hollins has come in, done a great job. But then the elevation of, like we just kind of mentioned, of Pop Douglas, Kayshon Boutte, you know, Kyle Williams is starting to come on and make plays each week. What has that room been like? It seems like they have a lot. I saw a clip. This was this morning. I saw a clip. They were kind of standing in front of you. It was like Kayshon and Diggs, and then they went over to the O-line. Like, this room seems like there's been some great leadership. They've got a great attitude. They're selfless.
Yeah.
They're blocking for each other.
Yeah.
It seems like a really cool room, and I think their success is been awesome to watch.
Yeah, I don't think you can talk about him without talking about Todd Downing.
Yeah.
Who's done a tremendous job. He's a great coach, and I knew of Todd before this process started, and Vrabes had some experience with Todd, and when we had an opportunity to sit down and interview Todd for a position on the staff, I thought it was one of my favorite opportunities that I've had to sit and listen to another coach talk about his experiences, and then present hey, this is how I would do this if I'm given the opportunity. And so he's a great human being. Really, really talented football coach, knows a lot of things, has coached, been a coordinator, been a quarterback coach, been a receiver coach, dealt with the tight ends.
Done a little bit of everything.
So he's done a lot of everything, which is really cool for those guys because he can talk about things from a perspective of the QB because he's actually coached the position and he's coached some really good players, Stafford and Rodgers and some of those guys. So, Todd's done a tremendous job of demanding a lot out of them, but also getting them to buy into the fact that, look, we all need to go out there and contribute.
Yeah.
We're best when we all contribute. It's like a basketball team.
Yeah.
The receiver room is really like the basketball team.
Right.
You know what I mean? One guy might have a big night, but you know what? Sometimes the best nights are when all five of us catch four
I think so.
for 42 yards and two of us score.
Yeah.
Like what happened the other night.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody had more than 40 yards, but every one of them had two or three catches.
Hunter was the leading receiver.
when it came to
70
yardage.
yards.
Yeah.
But the receivers all made plays.
Yeah.
Pop, Diggs, Booty, Mac. I mean, they all did. Kyle. I think they work hard. They try to really get in sync with Drake. I think one of the things that I've really seen grow as the years gone on is they also do a little bit of meeting on their own.
Yeah.
Which is,
Huge.
there's a buy-in and an ownership factor that goes along with that. Yeah. And I love that when they do that because I just, when players start to meet with players and talk about how do we get this right, you usually end up with a good result.
Yeah. I mean, and we always talk about, there's the play. But the play on paper looks a lot different than the play on field. And it's not – you guys sometimes don't have the answers for that. The players have to take ownership of this offense. And it's not – disregarding what they're being taught, but you have to make it your own. And maybe a route says, hey, this is 7 yards, and Drake comes, hey, on this, I want you to run it at 6 yards or 8 yards.
What did Tom always say? Hey, boys, if it's man coverage.
I can remember when Tom would come to the sideline sometimes, especially if it was a good pass rush, and say, hey, I don't have time to wait for you to get to 16. Run it at 12, so it is what
Tom
it is.
used to put me in a lot of bad positions. And then
with Dante.
And then when I would get asked in the meeting room why we pushed the mic backside and why would you do that, David, Tom would just be sitting up there in his office chair rocking, and I'm having to figure out how to explain it to Dante. But I would have rather taken those Dante ass chewings than Tom. So, but I mean, you're right. That's what makes, I think, offense, when players own their offense, it's a certain. It takes an offense to the next level because, like you said, you can't be out there. You can't control that stuff. They have to control it. So.
Yeah, it's always the players. The players make it always come to life. And you can have any idea you want. You can put anything on paper, and none of it works without the players doing it the right way. And sometimes the right way is this is the idea of the concept, but we also know there's going to be another human being across from that player too on every play. Yep. So it's like, we might say to do a straight line, but there's a guy in front of you, you know what I mean? And sometimes you got to figure out how to do that. And again, our job is to try to help them as much as we can, try to give them some opportunities to be successful and try to teach them the right ways to do things. But at the end of the day, the players always deserve all the credit because they make the plays.
You mentioned Todd Downing, which I was able to meet Todd because our sons go to school together. But the one thing that I noticed going in was the staff, right? Was a lot of guys that weren't with you before. And so I want to give you an opportunity to kind of talk about them, but also because we're Ohio guys, I want to give you opportunity to talk about your dad as well, because I have to imagine he was a huge influence on you. He was one of the greatest high school coaches in Ohio high school football history. I played against him when he was coaching at Warren Harding, and it was always tough. But kind of a twofold question. Talk about the guys that you're working with for first time, but also give your dad some praise here, because I admire him. He's been always so good to me, and I have to imagine you growing up watching him coach the Canton McKinley Bulldogs, play for him, and how that kind of led you to where you are now.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
The staff, you're right. The staff, it's a unique opportunity for all of us.
Yeah.
I haven't worked with any of them, you know, and so obviously I had been with Vrabes when he was a player, and I was on the coaching staff, but coming together and understanding that what he was looking for the best staff and the right staff, not necessarily like, well, let's just grab a bunch of guys that I had familiarity with or something else. It was kind of a really cool process to see, and also put together a group of people that were going to learn from each other too, you know? And so, you know, Thomas Brown has been awesome for me to have experience with him.
Anytime
That's
there's a Georgia reference.
He started his coaching career when I was
with Georgia.
He started in the weight room when I was there, which was awesome. He's
such a good coach, and really a great man, but also a great football coach. Has a lot of valuable experience and has worn a lot of hats too. So doing a tremendous job with our tight ends. Doug Haas and Cougs with the offensive line. Look, they teach and they work hard every day to improve those guys. And sometimes they do it in pods, you know, on the field. As you guys know, like we go tackles, tight ends, or centers and guards, or whatever it is. But it gives us an opportunity to have a little bit more manpower in there. You know what I mean? And I know you were used to Dante, and I was for so many years. Dante's he was a one-man wrecking ball. He's a unique individual. But I would say the three of them working together has been really impressive. It's really helped us. I talked about Todd and Ashton Grant with our QBs. I mean,
I see you guys are going on your Dunkin' runs every once in a while.
We go to our Dunkin' runs. Shout out to Dunkin' Donuts Route 1. No, he's the perfect guy for us because he has some experience, but he's also a sponge, you know, and he knows plenty enough to say, hey, no, that's wrong. We got to do this, boom, 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 you know, and so he can do, you know, a lot of those things on his own, but he's also trying to learn, you know, from somebody that's been in this system for a long time, which is awesome, you know, because I keep telling him, like, look, that's the way to try to get good at something is study and learn and get better and all the rest of it. And he's been incredible in our quarterback room. The guys have tremendous trust and faith in him. You know, and Tony Dews is your typical incredible running back coach, which we were blessed for so many years with Ivan. And Tony's, you know, he's a great teacher. He works their butt off on the practice field, you know, relative to blitz pickup and ball handling and steps and all the rest of that stuff. He's really been awesome for me to be around. And but it's just a really, really good group of people, great human beings, care a lot about the team, care a lot about their families. I've learned a lot from all these guys, and it's really been a great blend for us as we've kind of built this thing. And my father is, I mean, that's who I wanted to be when I was little. I mean, I don't know, there's not many of us that didn't, but that's all I saw. You know, I was going to 2-a-days when I was 5 years old and, you know, had a whistle and my socks pulled up and, you know, he'd give me a call sheet. He would let me run the clicker, you know, and back then it was the one where you feed the film into the projector. He would let me run the clicker, which only had one button, until I screwed it up too many times and they would take it from me. But, I mean, he took me on scouting trips when I was 8, 9 years old and, you know, all right, you get the L1, L2, L3 on the kickoff team and I'll get the ones on the bottom. And he just taught me how to do all those things. And he taught me how to try to do it the right way, you know, and be precise with all the things you're doing. And, you know, everything that I do in terms of my style and the way I communicate and how I try to work is really from him, you know, and I had the great opportunity to work for Nick and Bill for so many years, and they taught me so much about the game, but I lived with my dad. I got to see my dad literally from the moment I was old enough to go to practice. So, and he's living vicariously through my brother and I. So this is the great years for he and my mother, but no, I appreciate the opportunity opportunity to talk about him. He certainly is our hero, my brother and I, and we always try to make him proud. That's what we try to do.
Well, you have. I mean, I talk to him all the time, and like I said, playing against him in high school, I hadn't met you yet, but
Sure.
I knew I was watching your career, and that I felt like 7 connections away, and would always cheer for the Patriots because I got to know your dad. So you've done well.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I watched the game obviously through one set of eyes, and that's an offensive lineman eyes, and that's probably why
we're a good pair.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I watched the offense this year, and it's a top 10 offense, and then the one area where I think maybe and this is what you guys do on the bye week. How do we get better? Right? That's what the bye week's for, along with rest and recovery. But I remember sitting in a lot of those meetings, and
Sure.
And you think you're pretty good at something, and then you start breaking it down, and you learn, you're like, man, we can't run that play worth jack,
Yeah.
But the run game's been up and down at times. I do think, personally, I thought Monday night was the most consistent run game of the year.
Yep.
Some of that probably is Travion getting more comfortable and better. I thought he had I think you guys ran duo. They brought the weak side. He had a great cutback to the sideline. That, to me, was a thing of beauty.
Yep.
But, it's definitely been up and down at times.
Yep.
And your opinion on that, not try to give away any secrets here, but
I think there's certainly a handful of things that statistically you would say we need to get better at. There's no question about that, and we've spent some time on that, and we're going to spend a little bit more time on that certainly going forward. I think the big thing with us is there's multiple factors on this stuff, as you guys know. When you just look at it on the surface, sometimes you can say, oh, they're not very good at this or whatever. When you're really good in one area and not so good in another area statistically, sometimes that's by design, and that could be your own design.
Yeah,
sure.
You know what I mean? Based on how you're being played.
Yeah.
If people are playing you with 8 guys in the line of scrimmage,
Changes
and
the game.
you decide to go ahead and throw it a little bit more, and you can create big explosive plays and score more that way than another way, then you're certainly going to be lagging behind statistically some other way. That doesn't mean that we are doing everything exactly the way we want it, but I don't think any football team is.
No.
And so I think for us it still comes back to fundamentals, techniques, and the opportunity to run plays into maybe not premium looks, but looks where you have a good chance.
favorable look.
Yeah, you have a shot.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes when you run a play and they blitz a strong safety and slant the line, it's like, all right, the best you're going to do is 1 or 2 yards.
That's Dante saying they get a vote too.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's funny you say that because I remember years, right? You come in the bye week, hey, look, we're top 10 running team, top 5 running team, and then we would go through, we would look at the plays and be like, all right, on this play concept we average 5.2. You're like, yeah, we're really good.
Yeah.
And it'd be like, this play we average like 4.8. You're like, hell yeah, we're really. And it'd be like, all right, this play we average 1.2. You're like, oh,
yeah, what's happening?
Yeah, but it's so interesting, and I think. Just them getting better. I thought last week was one of your most efficient weeks on the ground.
There's
There's
always
2 guys on the left side that hadn't played, right?
That's right. And
I thought it was interesting. I thought the first play going to the left side.
to
Get
do
it going.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
Give them an opportunity to come off the ball, and be physical and see.
Which they did a great job.
Which they did.
Started off the game good.
And look, I think the running game, as you know, is one of the areas where nowadays in practice, even when you first started, and certainly when you started, Brian, you were able to work more days in pads in training camp and the off
drills.
Yes, where there was an element of those things being done at the speed you need to do them at, but also the physicality of it as well. And so I'm not making excuses for anything we haven't done as well. It's the truth, and I think that's why you have to believe that you can continue to get better at those things. Yeah. Can you get better at double teams? Can you get better at combination blocks? Can you get better at whatever the outside zone? Can you get better at tosses or whatever it might be? I think you certainly can. Yeah. And so, as we mentioned with Drake the other day, there was some things we tried to earmark from Cincinnati to New York that we made some progress in. I don't think that's dissimilar to some of the things in the running game. Yeah. So our hope and intent is to try to make some things that maybe we aren't as productive at right now better, or this is the time of the year where you say, you know what, we've spent 3 months on it.
We're done.
We're done.
Yeah. No,
we'll see in April.
That's what the bye week's for.
And that's, and you know what? That's okay too.
Yeah.
I've always thought you, and as collectively, but really did such a good job of looking in the mirror and saying, what are we doing really well? How do we keep doing that? What can we improve on? And then, like, to your point, what you just said, all right, it's not for this year.
Yeah,
we'll improve on it, and we'll do another episode with you, and we can talk about off-season limits and all that stuff. Because even when we
got to bring back halfway.
Well, when I watched Tom, and he's talking about the development of quarterbacks, and now it's getting less and less. I think that's why I've been so impressed with Drake, because he's done it with not the same type of quarterback school that Tom had.
No.
I didn't come in when it had already been shortened when I came in as a rookie.
Sure.
We didn't have quarterback school, but we had longer OTAs and all those things and better training camps. And now it's basically, nothing.
It's pretty quick.
And so that's why I knew he would get there, because I watched him last year. I watched how he carried himself, and I knew you two pairing up would be there. I mean, I can't tell you that I think it was going to be this quickly, but it's been so fun to watch. And so, we're thankful that you were able to come in and spend some time with us today on the bye week. I know you got work to do that self-evaluation.
No,
but
before we get out of here, though, you've been a part of a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And I think we have a favorite game, a favorite moment. Do you have a favorite moment, game, memory from your career?
My favorite game was Seattle.
14.
In 2014, because I had such a deep respect for the team we were playing.
Yeah.
And I just thought, and again, I don't want to comment on their entire team, but I knew the team we were playing was really going to be difficult to beat. And I just, knowing the 2-week preparation for their defense, and everybody knows, Legion of Boom, and Sherman and Chancellor and Earl Thomas and
D-line,
Wagner and KJ and the 7 guys in the front that rotated in there that were a pain in the back. We couldn't. I mean, Michael Bennett, we didn't know where he was going to be, and wherever he was a problem. And just the way I thought that game was competed on both sides, and fighting back and forth and getting ahead and then losing the lead and then coming back and grinding away. It was one of the more, I felt like one of the more respectful games being played as I was part of it.
Yeah.
Just because you could see the two teams and how much appreciation they had for one another.
Yeah.
They knew they were playing a good team. We knew we were playing a good team. And then the game actually lived up to the hype.
Yeah, exactly.
And the way it ended, I mean, hallelujah. But I mean,
that's a great mic'd up moment. You and Tom, right?
It was incredible. I mean, because I remember him going, the defense has got to make a play, and I'm like, yep, I know what I'm thinking. Oh shoot, and he's like, we did it, and I'm like, yeah, and the other thing too, I'll say this is 10 years. 10 years.
Yeah.
Between 04 and 14, and there's a lot of heartbreak in the middle of that, and guys that got close and didn't get one. Yep. The Logan Mankinses and the Randys and the Wesses and the, that's just on our side. But I mean, there's a lot of people that went through a long period of time getting close and just couldn't quite get over the hump on it. Yeah. And so it makes you appreciate how incredible that achievement really is, and how, just is our players, our team that year were just, they were a special group, and to be able to compete like that and a win against that group was probably my most memorable game.
That's awesome.
You got more memories to make. We're washed up, but thanks for being here with us today. It was awesome, especially when you get someone in you care about. So
I
we're
appreciate
rooting for
you guys.
Yep.
Two of my favorites.
Thank you. Take some rest, and we'll see you in. I'm not going to say it. That's been our long-running joke on this show.
All right.
See ya. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate it. All right, a little different legendary moment this week with Josh McDaniels in studio. His Super Bowl 49 story is this week's legendary story. Miller Lite isn't just any light beer, it's the original light beer. And when Miller Lite arrived 50 years ago, time became Miller time, and fun nights became stories worth telling. Miller Lite celebrating 5 decades of legendary moments, because legendary stories start with a light. So what a great pick by Josh. I mean, I remember where I was watching this game. Do you remember where you were? What were you in college? High school?
I was training for Pro Day, not the combine. Didn't get invited. I was on a very strict eating diet.
You didn't get invited to the combine?
No.
Oh, it makes your I did.
Oh no,
makes your story even better.
You know who also did it? For my draft class, Shaq Mason.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good draft class.
But, yeah, so I was at home with my wife, but girlfriend at the time, my parents, and I was having a cheat meal, Taco Mac, local place in Atlanta, wings. Remember watching the game, just like, and Josh, why he picked it, I thought summed up that game, right? Talking about just like two heavyweights. Each team knew what they were. Like, it was just one of those games. It was back and forth. You know, you had the Julian catch over the middle, the Gronk touchdown. Like, and then the ending, I was just like, what? How does this happen?
Yeah.
You know, and also kind of in that time, like, I was thinking, like, dude, that's got to be the best feeling in the world. I knew the Patriots had a rookie center in Brian Stork, and lo and behold, you know, a few years later, there I was. So
that's awesome.
David, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
I'm not chirping you about not getting a degree at Georgia like Brian does, but why did you leave Georgia your junior year if you were going to be undrafted, or did you just not know you were going to be undrafted? Like,
I mean, because a lot of guys, and I don't know about how you, like, I can remember being a senior at Georgia or a junior at Georgia, let's say, because I didn't do my spring senior year, and in spring classes there would be.
But you didn't leave early.
I did. I didn't go to school in this.
No, but like you didn't have any football left.
No, I was
why
out.
not come back for your senior year if you maybe weren't going to be drafted?
No, you're
you
misunderstanding
don't
this,
understand.
Danny. He didn't leave. He didn't declare early for the draft. He just didn't finish his senior year.
I didn't finish my senior year. That's what,
of class, not football.
You didn't do that either.
I see.
I kind of cheated the system because I had done so much credits throughout my college career in summer that.
So did I.
But in the spring of my junior year. Because I redshirted. Did you redshirt?
No.
See, that's the thing. I redshirted.
Thing.
So in the the spring of my senior year, which was my junior year, which is really my senior year of school, they basically came to me and said, "You can either graduate this spring and go to grad school for your
or push it."
And I was like, well, what's the minimum I can do to push during my senior year of football? And they're like 4 credits. So like I took like weightlifting and like something else.
So you graduated that January.
I graduated in after the season.
Yeah, that's the thing, Danny. I just didn't.
He just didn't continue.
I got you.
That's what a lot of guys did. Is like you would be in class or tutoring, and there would be guys coming in that.
Yeah, but you were getting prepped for the draft.
I was getting prepped for the draft, and then we started going to Super Bowls. I was like, dude, it's February. I'm not going back to school now.
Yeah.
So, and then it just never.
For me, this game against Seattle, I played with a lot of those guys because I was 14. My last year in New England was towards the end of training camp at 12, and so I just sat there. I was rooting for the Patriots, and it was this back and forth game. We were at a hotel down in Florida because I had played for Cleveland that year. We obviously, it's the off season. You're doing family trips, and the kids had just fallen asleep like in their little like playpen, and Malcolm catches that interception, and I jumped up and started screaming like, "Oh my!" And Lauren was she's like,
"Did you
the
wake
kids
him
are."
up?
Oh yeah,
oh yeah.
But that was an incredible. I mean, and the way Josh put it, and it's funny because I came back a few years later, and they would even reference that game in the quarterback room when we would go up against a defense that had a fast pass rush. Like, and Tom would always talk about like, "I'm going to play this game like the Seattle Super Bowl. The ball's coming out." He would tell you guys, "Hey fellas, ball's coming out quick tonight." Like they had such a good game plan to go against what was the Legion of Boom. And I think that was just, I'm sure when you won that Atlanta Super Bowl, it was like one of the greatest moments for you. But that was just 2 heavyweights slugging it out. And then the play by Malcolm, and, you see the mic'd up. We mentioned Josh and him, Tom, screaming like a little girl on the sideline. I mean, what a great choice by Josh for his favorite game and for our legendary moment.
It's funny because you think, right, like when we talk about like our favorite game, like, it's hard sometimes because there's so many.
Yeah.
He like 5 X's that,
I know.
It's like he's been there 6 Super Bowls.
Before
like
us, after us.
Like how do you pick one? But that is a great one.
And the best thing is, as we told him, he's got the opportunity to go make some more legendary moments. So hopefully it starts this week against Buffalo at home, hat and T-shirt game.
Yeah, here we go.
Bye week. Let's just talk about, because we asked Josh, right? Do you want to have a late bye week? What do you do? Just from your perspective, what did you always get out of your bye week? What did that look like? What could the fans expect the players to be doing, especially this late in the season?
I would say this. Did you ever feel like, and look, I know it's a lot different from what you did, like, and then what I did, but I always thought it was funny because, like, physically, I never felt like I really, like, it did that much to me. To me, it
Different position.
Yeah, to me, it was a mental.
Yeah.
Like, it was a mental decompression and emotional decompression, right? Because during the week, it's an emotional, like, every week's a very big emotional ride, you know, and whether that's nerves, anxiety, pressure, you know, and then, you know, the highest of highs, lowest of, like, the game's an emotional roller coaster, and you're trying to find that middle ground in all these emotions. Like, how do you manage them, all this stuff, and then as you got older, you know, how do you manage being a husband, dad, all these different things. So to me, the bye week was more of a decompression than really a physical advantage, I felt like. I personally, you know, and I think my bye weeks changed probably like yours did, depending on age. Like younger in my career, they were nice, but it was almost like I had to blow off some steam, you know. Like,
did you travel for bye weeks or no?
I traveled my first 2, maybe 3 years. And then really after that,
you realize it's more of a hassle.
Especially with Bill. Yeah. Like Bill, you know, it was, the troops were not informed. You really had no idea when you were getting out, you know, until like, it was just like, kind of like you would figure out like Wednesday when to book flights for Thursday, you know, or like how to book them. And, it got to the point where traveling, I felt like, what's the point? Like, I get on an airplane, I fly home Thursday night, I'm there Friday. Friday's like, you're exhausted because you get in late, you know, Friday or Thursday night, you know, Friday you trying to rest, Saturday happens, and then it's like Sunday you're like kind of stressed, like make sure I get home. So then it started to become like, we just started to do stuff up here. Like get away up here, you know.
We went to Stowe, Vermont one time. I think it was the playoff bye actually in 17, which was kind of cool. Like you think like, man, try to get out of the cold weather, but that was actually one of the best bye weeks we had. Rented a house like up in the mountains, chill, sat by the fire, and just change of scenery and get out of that. Because I think the one thing is you stay at home. Like, I don't know how you felt, but the bye weeks that I didn't go do something and I stayed at home, like I was almost like, all right, this is nice, but I know I got to go back. So it's like your brain's still in that mode.
It was like just we would go to the Cape, you know, wherever. We just try to go somewhere up here. It was just nice to try to get away. And some bye weeks we didn't, you know, if it was a Thursday night game, sometimes we would do that. Just you know, maybe it was like a staycation, like go stay in Boston for a night on the bye week or something. Just to try to like get your mind away from it. And I don't know, we've done it a lot of different ways. You know, I always enjoyed coming in on Monday.
Right, you talking about the team? Yeah.
And like, because Monday you could do a little practice, right?
Yeah,
like
kind of break a sweat,
get back into the feel of it, and then you're kind of in your normal routine because you usually would work on Monday, so you kind of get back into your routine versus like, and I don't know what it was about weeks if you didn't have a Tuesday off day.
Yeah, the week felt really long.
Like Bill went through that phase of like when we got home some days, like Monday, 6 a.m., he'd be like, take Monday off, come in Tuesday. I hated doing that. But
you need a chance to like put the last week behind you, have a day. Like Tuesdays was our day to go meet with Bill at quarterback. So they're really, if you didn't do it, if you did it the way you're talking about where Monday was off, then like the whole week for us, routine got thrown off.
And I always found like it wasn't like I was getting home at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, so even if you did, right, and were able to sleep, which like my first year, I think one day I slept from like 6 a.m. to 12 because we had Monday off.
Yeah.
Like that night, Monday night, I was like, it was like 11 o'clock and I'm like staring at the ceiling, you know? Like
we're such creatures of habit.
I would rather just sucked up Monday and stunk. Yeah. Like Monday just stinks. Like maybe sleep for an hour and then, you know, Tuesday you got a full day to kind of recover, decompress a little bit. But, you know, I know there's guys probably banged up that were still here. You know, I think personally, like for a lot of these guys, get away, take a deep breath. You know, that to me is what the bye week's for. Look, you're not going to get healthy in 3 days.
I'm sure. And as you know, and you know, maybe we can explain to the people listening, like if you're injured, it's mandatory treatment. And so even sometimes with that, they might say, hey, on Sunday, we're just like,
or Saturday.
Yeah, like, Saturday. Like, there's no treatment today. Like, get away. And that's more not for the physical part, but like you said, for the mental part.
And so, also probably for the trainers.
Yeah.
Like they need a break too.
Jimbo and Mike and those guys.
Zach, all those guys. So,
but no, you made a good point. Like they came in on Monday because I saw the clip. Like Jared Wilson's back out there practicing, which is great.
Hopefully huge.
Yeah, but I think you're right. It kind of gets you back in to like the point where it's like, all right, we had our time off. Let's come in, and we know with Josh, like, what he would do is, all right, just a little preview of what we're going to go. We've already played the Bills. Let's just get a little preview of what it's been. A little appetizer. And just so you have a little bit to think about when you leave the building and you have that Tuesday off, people, we know from hearing, like, those guys are going to be in the building preparing anyways on their own. Yeah. So now you come back Wednesday, you don't have to do the full scouting report. You don't have to do the full install. You've already done a little, like you said, appetizer, and now you're ready to go.
I loved when you had a chance to get ahead. Mm-hmm. And it's not get ahead, like you said. It's not like we're putting in the Wednesday game plan on Monday. No, it's just, hey, this is kind of the fronts. And so when you come in Wednesday, you really are already very comfortable with what they're doing. And it's not putting too much on your plate on a Monday. Like, it's just like, hey, these are their, most teams only run, 3 fronts on early downs. Like, and that's what you're probably doing. Like, these are their, packages, whether, their personnel. Like, that stuff's easy to digest, and it just helps you get a head start. But it's not like, oh, man, I have all this information. Now I have Tuesday. It's enough to where you feel like you got a head start, but in reality, it's not like you're getting a giant head start, you know? But, and I don't know, I always loved, I don't know what they did on the bye week. I always loved to see where we were at.
Yeah, self-scout.
The self-scouting was always interesting to me. And I think we talked about this in Josh's interview. Sometimes things were surprising, as a player, and learning that and trying to figure out, look, right now it's all about trying to get better and trying to find some edge, right? What edge do you have? And I know there's been a lot of bye weeks where we kind of figured that out and like, hey, we're done with this. And to me as a player, it's almost a confident feeling. Mm-hmm. Like, we're getting rid of this. We're good enough at all this stuff. Right. We don't need that. Yep. And so it just, I liked it. Sometimes it was frustrating because you thought you were better than you were. Especially when you're having success. Right. Like,
10 games in a row.
Yeah. Like,
but we, as you and I sit here every week, there's things that they aren't doing well. So,
and you need that as a player.
Right.
So that I enjoyed that part of it, to really not humble you, but just to understand where you're at, really, because like we said, it's so caught up during week to week, like you can lose track of that stuff, I think.
Yeah, no, it was great to have Josh in and talk about, where they're at, what he loves about this team, all of those things. And I think, the one thing that I think is great is obviously the timing of the bye, but who they're coming back and playing. Yeah. I'd be a little concerned they were coming back and playing the Dolphins, or they were coming back and playing the Jets. Look, you're coming back for a hat and T-shirt game, and I would say that the game up in Buffalo this year put the Patriots on the map. Like, is this for real? Well, they've gone on and rattled off 10, consecutive victories. That was one of them. And I think now, and obviously it was the bye week, I'm sure you watched the Buffalo game like I did, which was to me the ideal playing conditions. But don't think Buffalo isn't going to come in here and try to screw this up for the Patriots. And Josh Allen played like MVP Josh Allen this past Sunday. Let's just get into what you see coming up this week and what challenges the Bills present coming into. Because don't forget, in 2021, we went there and beat them in the win game, and then they came back here and beat us at home in the regular season, right?
So, first of all, I would say I'm excited to see what the atmosphere is Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is, I would say since the 2019 playoff game, maybe the 21 Bills game. Yeah, but there hasn't been this big of a game in Gillette. Take out the playoffs. There hasn't been this big of a game in Gillette in 4 to 6 years, maybe.
Mom's return back to Foxborough, maybe.
Yeah, but that is
for different reasons.
That's the thing.
Sure.
That was not that was a big game because of the situation, not necessarily an actual big game.
Yeah, in the end, it was kind of a meaningless game.
No, it was week 4. I agree with you. I was just saying, atmosphere-wise, it felt like a playoff game.
Yeah,
but you still had some people who were there just for Tom.
Yeah, this is the real deal.
Yes,
this is old school. What, and I think it's awesome coming off the bye. Like you just mentioned, this game at home.
Yep.
Like, we haven't had this as an organization in a long time. And I think it's a spot that a lot of people didn't think we would have. I think, you would say we're jockeying for a wild card position right now. Right?
You said at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
This is a jockeying for wild card.
Yeah, not going to win the division and dethrone the Bills.
And you're competing for the number 1 seed.
Number 1 seed.
How much truth goes into, like, everyone says in the media it's so hard to beat a team twice in a season, right? As players, do you guys find that to be true?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the problem, not the problem, I think the thing is when it's two good teams, they know you so well. Yeah. Like, you've played a whole game, they go back and they can watch it, they can see your techniques, they can see your patterns, plus they put that together with the film that they've watched of you recently. It's tough. Like, I don't know, I remember there was a few times in my career where we would play like a team and then like have like a week and then you come back and play like really close
like 2
together.
to 3 weeks, yeah.
Right, and like that was even harder because it was like, man, we just saw these guys, and like you're not saving stuff for the second time you play them, so you kind of empty the clip, so to speak, the first time, and now you got to regroup. Okay, what did we do well? That's why I love that the bye week is before this game, because not only the self-scout, but now the Patriots have more time than the Bills do getting ready for this. They've basically, the coaches, not the players, have been preparing for this game since last week.
And the hard thing is, too, I think, right? Well, first of all, like, the Bills' defensive staff, I know Josh has changed, obviously. Yes. We've talked about some of that with him. But at this core, it's still Josh McDaniels' offense.
Yep.
So the Bills have a very familiar relationship with that.
Right.
And then, 2, right, you look at them, because I can remember running like, oh, this run's really good against the Bills.
Yeah.
Well, the second time you play them, they see that, they know, and they make some type of adjustment that you don't know is coming.
I don't think this would give anything away, but obviously the first time we played them in 21 was the win game, and we had a lot of run alerts, right? Yeah. So we're like, okay, those work pretty good in that game. We come back in the second game, and every time Mac would alert to a certain run, Edmonds was the mic, right? He knew based on what we had done.
Was there.
Yeah, and Milano, Mac would alert, and then Edmonds would shift to where, because they had figured out some of those alerts were based on the linebacker alignment. Yes. And so, like, that's the game you have to play when you're in a game, when you're playing a team the second time, and then we end up playing them a third time.
Yeah, so it's just, that is very hard. It's just that chess match. Players are more familiar.
Yep.
You're trying to disguise stuff, but that becomes harder. Like, it is hard. I think it makes the NFL very interesting, though, how the division works, and it kind of turns it into a baseball series. Not really, but
in a way. And I think it's great because in order to win your division, you have to play each team twice. Yeah. And so, like, that kind of separates who's legit and who's not. And that's the reason why, like, we always said, like, those division games almost count double. Yeah. Right? That's why they're big, because you got to play them twice. It gets harder. They know you, you know them, and there's really no like skirting around the issue. It's the best teams are going to win.
Yeah, well, in saying that, let's get to our FW Web Solutions of the Week. Solutions of the Week, Hoy. The team at FW Web delivers the right solutions for the pros when and where they need them. Here's the solutions we think the Patriots should put in place for next week. Number 1, obviously, Hoy.
You got to stop Josh Allen. The way he played.
Easier said than done.
I know it is easier, and the way and I want to break it down a little bit. You can't stop him. Yeah. Okay, you can only hope to contain him, and the thing that I would do is prevent him from running the football, because that was what really broke open that game against the Bengals. He goes, you texted me. Like, you texted me like, how does that happen? You know what I mean?
There was 2. The one off the blitz, and then it was the one on. It was like Cincinnati was down 4, I believe. Yeah. They got him in like 3rd and 15. And it didn't, I don't know if there was a spy. I didn't really watch the like cut-ups. But he's just running. Like, how do you let him, if it's Peyton Manning on 3rd and 15 and he runs for 15, like, hey, hats off. But like, how do you let a guy like that not be spied?
Yeah, and so I think you try to make him one-dimensional, because he's gonna, like, I remember sitting here when we were talking about the game after they beat the Bills, and you're like, man, I just felt like uncomfortable because Josh Allen's like kind of lurking below. He's still gonna make Josh Allen plays. I think
you can't stop him.
You can't stop him. Brian Sung would appreciate us giving the shout out to Josh Allen, a big Buffalo fan. But to me, you've got to make them one-dimensional. And so what that takes, and we've sat in those team meetings when you're playing a guy like Josh Allen, and Bill would tell the defense, look, we got to contain this guy. Like, we have to have disciplined rush lanes. Yeah. We got to, if we're running TEs, we can't end up in the same gap, because if you let him out, not only can he run, but some of the throws he makes on the run, which, that's what he was able to do against Cincinnati, like, that becomes dangerous. So I think you, instead of trying to go for the sack, you mush rush him, you contain him in the pocket and make him throw the football.
The pocket.
Yeah, crush the pocket, and don't let him get out or step up and then run, because if you're trying to do that and then he's throwing the football too, like, that just becomes, it's just too hard to defend all of it. So you got to be very balanced and crush the pocket. Don't let him extend the play. Let him try to beat you, which he will. He could throw it, so he can pick you apart. But I'd rather take my chances of him being methodical and trying to be a surgical passing than letting him escape and making those big explosive plays.
Well, my FW Webb, this is a big plumbing job this week.
Big plumbing job.
A lot of pipes got to get fixed this week. My solution of the game is similar to yours. You got to stop James Cook. And I think in the first game, they did a really good job of containing James Cook. Mm-hmm. To me, making Josh one-dimensional is taking away James Cook.
Yeah. That,
to me, is where, if he can't rely on him to make plays, then I think that puts more pressure on Josh. And in doing that, it helps you out. It's the same we've talked about Drake a little bit, like how much the run game helps quarterbacks. So, to me, taking away James Cook, kind of trying to eliminate that. And look, I think the problems on this football team offensively goes Josh Allen, obviously, James Cook, the tight ends.
Tight ends.
Where do tight ends make a lot of hay? Play action.
Play action up in the middle of the field. And also, like we were talking about before, you might get a little appetizer of the upcoming week.
Yeah.
Like, this team wasn't playing with Gabe Davis the last time the Patriots played him. So you have a little bit of new faces there, old face, but a new face this season since he played him last. So, like, you're right. You got to stop Josh Allen in the running game, stop James Cook, make Josh Allen have to throw the ball, and then, to your point, the tight ends is really where they hurt the Patriots the last time they played them.
And then if you look, obviously, how the Cincy game ended, the last thing, you got to take care of the football.
Take care of the football.
I mean, and that could be a solution every week.
Yep. It is a solution every week.
It is a solution
but this week more than ever.
Yeah, especially that game, Cincinnati kind of has a chance to change the aspect of that game, right? Mm-hmm. They bring that pressure.
I was trying to rewatch that a few times because I was like, did that ball slip? Did he not have a grip? Because I've never seen he almost tried to shot put it over him.
It almost looked like he Rambo'd it.
Well, I think what happened is they brought the corner blitz, and you could tell by, was it Higgins?
I think it was
side?
Chase.
It was Chase, that they must have a little built-in, whether it's a dart or look pass for that type of pressure. And it just looked like to me that either Burrow didn't have it. It was cold. Yeah. It was snowy, but he had thrown it so well during the game, and it almost instead of throwing it, he almost tried to shovel or shot put it over. And Benford is a long dude, and then that really broke the game open.
I was watching the game, and someone said, can Joe Burrow not catch that linebacker? I think the 47. I think the 47 might have thrown him off.
Yeah.
But that was, to me, wrapping it up. The Patriots did a good job taking care of the ball in the first game.
Yep.
It's going to be crucial this week, right? You don't want to give anything to Josh Allen, right? He's going to get his opportunities.
Yep. Don't give him extra.
You don't want to give him extra, right? You want to control the game, control the line of scrimmage, take care of it that way. And I think, coming out of the game, if you look at it, Josh Allen's going to probably have a good stat line. It just is what it is. I think really, they take care of the football and they can stop James Cook and they don't let Josh, like you said, they contain Josh Allen.
Yeah. I'd be okay if he throws for 280.
Yeah.
and doesn't run for more
has
than
30
10
yards rushing yards.
Yeah,
He won his
or less.
first game stat line against the Pats.
Yeah, I know it was pretty similar to that, right?
Yeah, I mean, he had a good stat line. It was 253 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a pick.
Yep.
And his rating was 103.3.
Yeah,
And
Marcus
he had 53
Jones.
rushing yards, too.
Right, but that was right there. David hit on it, like the turnover battle, right? The Patriots protect the ball. That you pry one off of them. You're going to have to do that again. The Bengals were able to make James Cook fumble going in the end zone. That could have been a totally different game had he not done that. Now they were able to overcome it because of Burrow's turnovers.
On jobs large and small across 16 disciplines, FW Web has the selection, in-stock inventory, expertise, solutions, and people to get the job done right. For more than 150 years, FW Web has been the trusted partners for professionals across the Northeast, delivering what you need, when, and where you need it. Because at FW Web, they believe relationships, trust, and dependable service matter. FW Web, where every customer counts.
By the way, I checked. This is a quarterback thing to do. Always check the weather at game day, and there is snow in the forecast. So,
Thought it was rain.
dude, I checked this morning, and it said snow, potential snow game.
Let me look.
Which,
I think what I've been thinking about this whole time while you guys are talking is it's just funny. Like going into that Sunday night football game, we had no idea who the Patriots were
Right.
and what Drake Maye really was. And now we're almost talking about Drake in the same class as Josh Allen.
yeah,
He is in the same, like right now, like to me, like I know Josh has won an MVP, but it's not like you're comparing Patrick Mahomes, 3-time Super Bowl champion. Like,
right.
I know Josh has had a longer career, obviously, and has gone to the AFC Championship and had the but Drake's got the almost number one seed in the AFC. Like, I don't know.
And the thing that I like too, because at the beginning of the year, what were the comparisons? Oh, Drake's going to be Josh Allen, and I've always said I thought I saw him somewhere between Josh and Justin Herbert. And really, what Drake has become is Drake Maye. Like he even said it. Like I don't need to be anybody else. Drake Maye. And the way that he plays is his own unique style, and it's kind of, you can't really compare him to anyone because he's an elite pocket passer, but he also has the athletic ability that we've seen some of those other guys have, and so he's just being himself, which I love. All right, go ahead, Danny. What do you got?
He is who he is.
I mean, my weather app on my iPhone says at 1 o'clock it's going to feel like 22 with wind chill, and there will be snow.
Let's effing go.
That's some football weather now. That's some football weather.
Will you be there, Danny?
I'll be there. I will be there, loud and proud.
All right.
On your party bus?
No party bus this time.
By the way, you need to tell that party bus it needs to leave a little bit early from now. I mean, you can't be getting there after kickoff.
Night games are a nightmare coming from Boston, so it's a wash. But we'll be there early in the parking lot. Bills Mafia, I'm sure, will travel well to this game.
Can we talk about Bills Mafia real quick?
You can do whatever you want. Hoy, it's your show.
I actually like Bills Mafia.
I love. I mean, some
the
of
fans are awesome.
The fans are incredible. How many times were you mooned or flicked off driving into?
Not only that, do you guys remember? Was it a couple? What year was that? Like 17, maybe 18, 19, maybe when Andy Dalton beat somebody.
Yeah, they donated the money.
Dude, what the Bills fans they get behind these causes, and I look. That place is a wild place to play, but that is awesome to play in.
Oh, yeah.
You should go there as a fan in a Pats jersey and see what that's like. You will get hazed.
I know.
Have you gone?
Not suggesting.
My senior year of college, I went to school in upstate New York. Went to Buffalo for a game on a Sunday. It was the year we won 40-0. Gronk went off. It was the heyday, and I got absolutely hazed. Bottles thrown at me, everything.
I mean, it's a wild.
They are. It's incredible.
Awesome. It's a great place.
Driving the buses through the tailgates,
the neighborhoods.
Oh yeah, and the people, they can't wait for the opposing team to drive up there. You get to see the breaking of the tables, a lot of middle fingers, been mooned, seen some other extracurricular activities going on.
I love it. I mean, I would say I love playing in Denver. Denver's an awesome place. Maybe it's just because I played there so much because obviously they're in the division. It's probably top 2 places, 3 places
Definitely.
I've been able to play.
The new stadium looks sweet. I'm glad they're keeping it outside. They're going to have.
It's not very Buffalo.
What do you mean?
I agree, Danny.
It's going to be too high tech.
Yeah, but at least they didn't put a dome.
Fair.
Okay.
I mean, it plays into your advantage. We were talking about this the other day with somebody. I think it was Barth on the Patriots podcast I did with him about the domes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, to me, when I think of football, I think of 22 degrees.
Yeah.
Or, like, that Bears-Packers game. Like, I don't know, dude. You play in those games and, like, the, like, NFL film music's playing in the back of your head, you know? Like, I don't – that's just –
It's meant to be played outside.
It is, especially in bad weather, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's just – same – I don't know. Like – it's like golf. Like when these professionals bomb 360 down the fairway, is that cool? I see you hit that sometimes. But when you go out of bounds and have to hit something crazy, you don't do well. No offense.
Yeah,
I don't
no one
either.
does.
But like when they can shape shot it like under a tree around and like land it 10 feet, like that to me is what's awesome. It's like professional athletes, everybody playing in a dome. That's great, but like you talk about Josh Allen, that win game, I know he wasn't that effective throwing the ball. That was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen.
It was.
Like, I don't know.
agree.
It makes it that much better, in my opinion.
Speaking of some bad weather football or traveling to tough stadiums, should we talk about the playoff picture? Denver at the top of the AFC East. AFC.
Yeah.
They beat the Raiders, so now they hold the tiebreaker over us.
Two tiebreakers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But they got what? The Packers coming in town this week.
Tough schedule.
They got the Chiefs
and the Chargers again.
Yeah, I'll pull it up right now. Their full schedule. They have the Packers coming to town in Denver. They got the Jaguars coming to Denver. They're going to KC, and then they're going to LA to finish out the
That's tough. Four games.
That's a
Chargers,
four-game
by the way,
stretch.
not the Rams.
Yeah. That's a four-game stretch that's hard.
Those are all playoff teams they're going to play.
I mean, the Chiefs.
Besides the Chiefs.
But
yeah, that's right.
But still, like, Chiefs are in their division. Like,
Yep.
I don't think the Chiefs are just going to. I mean, they could. Who knows? But like, I feel.
And that's at Arrowhead, right?
The game is at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, they're not going to lay down.
Yeah.
They're not going to lay down.
So-
They'll play.
I mean, but if it doesn't matter, right? If they lose, they lose one more game and you're in if you win out, right?
If you win out, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Because it's overall record. So
Yeah.
I'd rather play the Bills, the Ravens. Now I'll say this: the Dolphins have turned some things around. So
Mike McDaniels saved his job.
yeah, like let's not just like check this off, like. And
They
what?
have 0.3% chance to make the playoffs right now.
Yeah, and I guess my point is like, let's just say, one of those games for the Broncos they lose, and you win the next three. Like you can't rest against the Dolphins and say this is an easy win.
The Broncos have the tiebreaker.
Right.
How about the Chiefs, though, in the 10th seed, and they have an 11% chance to make the playoffs? 4 weeks to play in the NFL season. That's wild.
I don't know what that means.
What do you mean?
Like that they're out of it?
They have an 11% chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah. Like you're saying because we're so
like the prime time Mahomes, like this is his prime, and he's not going to make the playoffs.
Well, can we just say one thing like about the GOAT, the only GOAT? Like I was here when he was 30, 31 years old. He never had a performance like Mahomes had the other night. I mean,
it was bad.
At least off the top of my head, I mean, I'm sure someone out there will listen and try to find one, but it did not go well. Obviously, Kelsey bobbles the ball up at the end of the game, but
might say that Monday Night Football game against the Chiefs when it was like we're on to Cincinnati.
Right. But I don't know. I wasn't here for that. But I guess what I'm talking about, like 30, Mahomes is 30. I came in 2009. That was Brady's first year back from the ACL. Like, dude, I don't remember. Maybe the playoff game against Baltimore didn't go well, but I don't think it was that bad.
Yep. How about another team that was in the picture and is probably not anymore, the Colts?
Hey, there's a guy coming to the rescue possibly, though.
44 years old, Philip Rivers.
Grandfather.
Yeah.
I saw that stat. That's a wild
stat. But I looked it up. I do believe Favre may have been a grandfather when he was playing at the end of his career.
For the Vikings or Jets?
That would have been the Jets?
Vikings.
The Vikings.
Crazy. So, Hoy, what, you're 40?
40, yeah.
You can't go play for the Colts?
I could throw. If I got hit, I don't know if I'm getting back up.
Would you
point.
like evaporate?
I mean, I would just crumple like a sack of potatoes. I have not been prepping to go play football. Neither. And so, I know Philip coaches high school football, so he's out there maybe moving around, throwing the football. Like, throwing is not a problem. I think getting hit would be the problem.
You imagine just taking a blind side?
No. Myles Garrett.
Your back. Oh, gosh.
Danielle Hunter. Dude, I was watching that game.
These Texans now?
Yeah, the Texans
good.
D is legit.
So I was going to ask my question to both of you. You both give answers. Who are the teams, list them off, that you're most scared of in the playoffs?
I ain't scared of anyone,
We're
Danny.
not scared.
First of all, I'm not playing,
all right, well,
so I'm not scared of anything.
Who do you not want to play in the playoffs?
I don't think, to me, it's not that you don't want to. Like, I don't worry if the Patriots go out there and play the way they can, no team stresses me out. Now, in saying that, I think each of these teams provide different issues. Like Pitt, I'm not like that game should have been a whole different game, and I hate doing that, but that's just the truth. To me, like Buffalo is a different challenge because of their quarterback. Like that's the big worry with Buffalo.
I think when you look at who you don't want to play, I'd play the teams that don't have the top tier quarterbacks.
Yeah, I
because
agree.
That's what it's ultimately going to come down to is how the quarterback performs.
Like Houston, like to me, they're not world beaters on offense. I think they're good enough on offense, but like I think you can make it hard on C.J. Stroud.
Yes,
but that defense can save you a lot, and like they did with the Chiefs, like turning the ball like that. It's just I
guess to answer your question, Danny, the Broncos and the Texans to me present the most challenge because of their defenses and their lack of elite quarterback play. The Bills with Josh, to me,
Third
like
game with Josh scares me.
Like the Jaguars, like I'm not concerned whatsoever. And granted, I haven't watched them play, but they're clearly winning games. Like Liam Cohen is probably not getting the recognition he deserves to turn them around to what are they 9-3? Like the Steelers, I think if the Patriots play the Steelers again, like even if they turn it over twice, I think they still beat them by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
They turned over five times last game.
If let's say everything stays the same here, right? Like Patriots stay the 2 seed.
The 2 seed.
And we beat Buffalo this week, obviously, in that scenario. Does it all go by overall record?
That's the first one for seeding, but then I think the tiebreaker is what conference record?
Yeah, conference.
Because is Buffalo getting in that 7 seed is like,
yeah, imagine playing them in the first round.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't want to do that again.
Not at all. That's what I mean, and that's what I don't mean to say the word scared, but that's what I mean.
No, I know what you mean.
Well, and that's why I said what I said. Like, I'd rather play. This is going to sound crazy because we've already beat the Bills, but I would rather play the Broncos or the Texans and their defense than play Josh Allen for a third time.
I agree. And I think if you could play Houston, right,
at home,
then you get a really good. And I've never thought about this is just like media mind thinking of this. Like I'd never went to the playoffs and thought like this.
Yeah.
But like if you play Houston at home, that's a really good defense. So, just playing percentages, I guess, you would pick like, we're going to have to beat the Broncos to go to the AFC Championship, right? Like number 1 and 2 seed. That's so far stretched, but you kind of get like a barometer of like what a really good defense looks like.
You're saying, do
you know what I mean?
You're saying beat Texans, like, okay, we're going to have to go beat another really good defense if we're going to get past Denver.
I don't know. Like, is it like a good, like, do you know what I mean?
What are the, I mean, is Houston's a wild card now, but do they have a chance to overtake Jacksonville in the?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. I mean, they're only a game behind for
sure. And they play each other again?
I can double check.
Is that division still like pretty much all open?
I mean,
wide open.
You talk about the downfall of a team, the Colts, which were one of the hottest teams.
Like,
they've had injury.
This is to me like this isn't like a team that like started off hot and then they just kind of like fell apart.
Yeah,
like
Houston has an easy schedule though, so they have Arizona this week, Raiders next week. Both at home, and they play the Chargers on the road, and then they play the Colts against maybe Phillip Rivers.
So what is the head-to-head between Houston and Jacksonville right now?
What do you mean, like
head-to-head matchup? They played each other twice. Yeah.
I think Jacksonville won.
Both?
Yeah, Jacksonville won in week 3, and then Houston won in week 10.
So they split. So yeah.
Yeah, they split.
And we already said Jacksonville has to play Denver.
Yeah.
So Texans could technically come out of there and win that division.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I mean, look, this is going to be an interesting playoff picture down to the wire, I believe. Like we're not going to, even with the Patriots standing, we may not know where they're going to be, and we may not know who they're playing until after Sunday night.
Yeah.
Of that last week.
No, it's going to be.
Week 18, the Ravens play the Steelers too, and that's going to be like game winner take all, I think, for the division.
Maybe that could be the 8:00 game. I mean, there's a lot of tight races, not just the AFC but the NFC as well, and so that's the way the NFL likes it. Like look at last year
great
when
parity.
Guys, we got breaking news.
What?
It's grandpa time in Indy.
They signed him?
They signed him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dadgummit.
Scheffner just tweeted it.
He you know what happened? He finished his high school season and was like, yeah, you know what? I got nothing to do for the next 2.5 months.
Dude, I saw him with Gruden. Gruden went down to visit him, and he's holding his, son. And he's like, yeah, I got a grandson. He's, only a few months younger than this one. We're going to have a son throwing a pass to a grandson in about 15 years. It's unbelievable.
You know how many kids he has?
10.
10.
He needs one more to field a team.
Wow.
At least an offense.
He's automatic quarterback, so
yeah, that's
he's got
true.
a team.
There you go.
I love my kids. I do.
How great would that story be if they make the playoffs with Phillip Rivers?
Dude, I'm just he's a big dude though, so I'm not concerned about getting
I'm still
hit.
wrapping my head around having 10 kids, how to manage that.
10 kids, yeah.
You're doing pretty good at 2.
Yeah, I mean, I like it, but 10. Oof. I don't know. I guess because some of the older ones, they're probably they're babysitters and
one of them has his own kid
and daycare services and hey, you got to pick up so and so from.
Dude, that's gonna be must-watch TV. If anything else.
I feel bad for the Colts. I don't know. And Daniel Jones.
I don't. Daniel Jones, I feel terrible for.
It's not and especially to get hurt when
this schedule
dude's out there. Okay, Danny, go ahead.
Sorry. Seahawks in Seattle.
For Phillip's first game?
Phillip first game.
Oh.
San Fran at home.
Yeah, but is he starting or is it Riley? Is it Riley?
Riley Leonard is the backup.
So Leonard's going to play. This is their third quarterback situation.
I don't know, dude. If he's coming in, I got to imagine he's coming to play.
I think he's going to play.
That's wild. When's the last time he played? 2 years ago?
2020.
What?
2020.
Are you sure?
COVID year.
Yeah, that was when he went to the playoffs, right?
5 years?
It's crazy.
Didn't they lose?
Wait, so Matt Ryan went there in 2021?
To Indy. Yeah, let me double check.
Oh, dude, I forgot Ryan was there. I forgot he finished his career.
Phillip only played 1 year there?
We're doing some Googling back here, but I think we're on, his last year was in COVID year. So let's see, Matt Ryan, he was in the Colts in 2022.
Wait, who played quarterback for the Colts? Was it Carson Wentz in 2021?
Double checking, filibuster for a second. Sarah got it. She's on top of it. Carson Wentz in 2021.
Damn, I didn't realize Phillip only played there for 1 year.
I didn't think it was long. I just remember they went to the playoffs and lost to the Bills.
So he came there for 1 year and then was like, all right, I'm out. I'll come back in 5 years.
Dude, he's played, what year number is this?
Well, he's the same class as Eli, right?
He'll get an accredited season.
Played 17 years in the NFL, Phillip Rivers.
So this is going to be 18. There's 3 weeks. There's more than 3 weeks. He's going to get an accredited season.
He's already taken all of his. Does he probably get his?
Does he get more severance pay?
Yeah, they just add it. That's wild.
So do you guys think Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer? Because now he has to wait another, 5 years? He's not eligible for another 5 years. But do you think he's a Hall of Famer?
I mean, down the road, he's not going to be. I don't think he was going to be like. He didn't win a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
what if he does in 2025?
Then maybe he is.
Yeah, then maybe. I mean,
that would be one of the craziest stories.
If he comes back
in sports
and the
history.
Colts win a Super Bowl, I'd put him in 2 years.
Oh yeah, I would waive the waiting. I'd be like, yeah, you already.
Yeah.
But forget that you came back for the rest of the season.
I didn't realize he was the 4th overall pick.
Yeah,
but don't you remember? You probably don't remember what happened. Eli was the first pick for the Chargers.
Yeah, okay.
And that was the whole trade.
And he was like, I'm not going there. And so they negotiated
was that
trade.
Archie Manning that kind of didn't Archie pull
Yeah, I'm not.
behind?
I mean, Archie was obviously experienced in the NFL and knew what market he wanted Eli in and everything. But I don't know the whole story.
Yeah.
playoff
picture in the AFC is interesting. So, a lot of storylines the last 4 weeks of the NFL.
Hey, we just got to go beat the Bills. Just play the team in front of you.
What I saw, the media was hounding Vrabel, right? Because he said championship, and then
because of the AFC East.
Yeah, did you see that stuff, Dan?
I didn't see it, but I saw he went on Dave Portnoy's morning show.
They were he had said I guess it was something from the locker room. He said and now he's they're saying he's not talking about that. I don't know. That's
got to be someone asked him this trend, which we love, seeing into the post game talking to the team. And they asked somebody, he's like, it's a lot of pressure. I got to really think about what I'm going to say now because I know the whole world's going to see it.
I would be bad at that.
Me too.
Before we hang up and get out of here, I wanted to throw it back to the Josh. What if the Giants come and ask Josh to be the head coach this offseason? Do you think he would take it?
If I'm Josh McDaniels, and I don't. What was our one rule in the media? Speak for yourself. I'm not speaking for myself right now. But if I'm Josh, right, and I don't know what Josh is thinking, but you've gone and done it twice.
Yep.
You know, it hasn't worked out. You've had immense success, you know, here as a coordinator. And you've got this beautiful human named Drake Maye that is just like a beautiful freaking.
Well, I think you could see by the way he spoke about Drake, he's very happy to be coaching him.
And I'm sure Josh is. I would find it very unlikely, and I'm a little upset about this, that Ann Michael's Bake Miss and baked goods aren't making their way into the facility. I'd find that very.
They are. I saw Vrabel said he ate like a
Sarah
apple.
says they're coming into.
They're like an apple crumble bar or something that he ate.
If I'm Josh and I'm getting cookies and stuff every week.
We got cookies today, David, from Sarah.
We did. Sarah,
and
shout
I let
out.
Sarah know
I was peppermint, Oreo.
Very good cookie.
I let her know I was very disappointed.
Why?
Because this is week, what'd you say, 15 of the show, and I'm just figuring out that she's baking? Look at me, Sarah. Do you think this is a body that doesn't like sweets?
She knew you're on your way down. You're yo-yoing down.
But Hoy, now, all right,
Little
getting
upset.
off topic on Sarah's baking.
Okay,
I'm just
I will
saying,
say,
though, you know, he's got a good thing going.
Do you think he's going to go to be head coach, or will he stay in New England?
look, he's been asked this, and he said he's very happy coaching here. I will say this because I was in Vegas when Josh was a head coach, and he got a raw deal. And I sat there from firsthand experience and saw what went on. And sometimes, you know, the path leads you to where you're supposed to be. And so I'll just leave it at that. I think Josh was meant to be back here right now. But you know, people always ask me, do you want to get into coaching? And to me, the only reason you want to get into coaching is to be able to do it as the head man someday. And so I think for as long as you coach, that's always going to be there in the back of your mind, right?
Yeah.
I think you learn from experiences, but to your point, David, I don't know if I'm Josh and my family's here and they're happy and my job's going great and I'm happy and I have this guy Drake Maye, and I'm looking at the future together of what it can be. I don't know. It would have to be, you know, the perfect situation for me to go if I was Josh.
I'm a little embarrassed as you were talking. I'm just sitting here saying I wouldn't become a head coach because of baked goods, and I'm trying to live with that statement that came out of my mouth.
That's why you're a lineman.
I'm just trying to process that actually left my mouth. But, yeah, I think that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
We can leave it on that.
Yeah, we bring those cookies back in here.
We're going to go eat some cookies. Look, before we get out of here, I want to give a shout out to the Corey Griffin Foundation. I've been a part of this foundation for a little while. They do an amazing event for Corey's kids, giving away Christmas presents to underprivileged kids. I think they gave away 3,000 gifts to underprivileged kids this year. I was able to go be a part of the event in Boston. Unreal experience. Matthew Slater spoke to the kids, and, getting the chance to listen there and listen to Matthew Slater, that's not something I take for granted. So shout out the Corey Griffin Foundation. You guys can check them out. They do some amazing work in Boston for kids all over. But check us out on YouTube Wednesday night, NBC Sports Boston at 6 p.m. and wherever you get your podcasts. Let's go kick the Bills' ass, boys.
Oh, special delivery.
Oh, here we go.
Let's see the hands.
Yeah, look at these.
Yes.
Look at these.
The Cookie Monster.
Let me get one of those on air.
I'm self-proclaimed not a peppermint guy. I was a little nervous when she brought them in. I'm
Do a Portnoy food review right now.
All right, one bite. Everybody knows the rules.
I think I'm rechanging all my taste profiles.
All right, the peppermint gives a hint of the holidays. I really like it. It's got the perfect texture of soft but still firm and a little crunch on the bottom, which she let us in on a little secret. I'll let you tell them.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm a big cookie guy. You guys see that dark brown right there? I like a little texture to a cookie, but it's still soft. And what she said was that it's actual cake mix. It's not a cookie.
Right.
Because you asked, is it like a chocolate chip cookie
right.
dough?
What's the base?
But also one thing I think is interesting, right? When she said peppermint, I thought she went with the whole peppermints in a bag.
Crushed them up.
Yeah, crushed them up.
Yep.
No, she said they're actually baking peppermint chips, so they're
really good.
They're not hard. They have a chocolate chip chocolate chip texture. So,
do you have a favorite holiday cookie? My wife isn't doing her own bake miss, but
I like them. Boy, look at me.
I know, but that's why I said
Lauren
like
should do Bake Miss on Instagram. That'd be awesome.
That would be great. She makes great cookies. I love the little like powdered sugar pecan. You probably like those.
Your microphone with this chewing, David, is quite something in the studio right now.
You told me to eat them.
The entire control room is just listening to your throat.
Well, why did you guys throw them to me and make me eat them?
Oh, it's good. Yeah, it's good. You're indulging.
Check them out. I think she said she saw the recipe on TikTok, so I'm sure you can find them there.
I'm not a TikTok guy.
Me either.
But like when I hear people be like, "Oh, like check this out," and like eat this, and I'm like, "Well, of course, yeah, I'll eat it." And I'm like, "Where'd you get that recipe?" They're like, "Oh, TikTok." It makes me want to be like,
Yeah.
But I can't have a TikTok. Too old for TikTok.
Great job, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah. I lost my earpiece, but great
Let's go
job.
beat the Bills.
This is my 4th.
All right. See you next week.
See you next week.